there are some challenges involved with having a self-hosted system. And the biggest one is just complexity. So dealing with a self-hosted system means that you are taking responsibility for infrastructure that previously you didn't have to look after. So you might recognize this guy. This is Clem. He's the CEO of Hugging Face. I've also heard rumors. He's also the nicest man in AI. And he tweeted or posted a while ago that it's not fair to compare a open source model and an API based model. He said it's more like comparing an engine and a car. I think it was actually him quoting someone else. And he's totally right. When we use an API-based service, there's so much going on beneath the layers that we don't see. Whereas the model, when we have that, we then have to build all of this infrastructure around it. So it really is like comparing an engine to a car. If we want to self-host, we go from just jumping in the car and getting to driving to just getting the engine and having to deal with the rest ourselves. So if I use an API-based model, broadly my interaction looks like this. So I have a user and I query an API and I get a response, right? Everyone knows how these things work. However, beneath the surface of this API is a lot going on. And this is stuff that you have to deal with if you're self-hosting. You have to deal with the batching server. You have to make sure that your models are fast enough and are cheap enough. You have to deal with your Kubernetes infrastructure. OpenAI also deals with things like function calling. And this is a lot of infrastructure that you previously took for granted that now you have to build. So that is by far the most tricky bit. Now, what's also frustrating is that getting this infrastructure right really, really matters. There are huge differences in performance between when teams put a lot of effort into their self-hosting stack and when teams don't put a lot of effort into it. So on the screen, you can see an example between two infrastructures. One is very, very simply just using Hugging Face and PyTorch and Fast API. And you can see that my model is significantly slower. I think in this case, it's 3 times slower, but this also depends on the hardware. We've seen cases where it's up to 12 to even 20 times slower. Whereas you can see on the right, when you throw the kitchen sink at it and you really make sure you're building great infrastructure, you get much, much faster applications. You can run it on cheaper hardware. So we've seen up to 90% compute cost saving on an ongoing basis by self-hosting with great infrastructure, between 3 to 20x latency reductions and 8x memory reductions, and being able to get guaranteed structured outputs like JSON. So getting this infrastructure right really, really matters if self-hosting is right for you.